they'd rather fail quickly rather than take 5 months to try and make everything perfect, try and avoid loads of different mistakes. They'd rather just go into it, do it, make the mistakes quick, get them out of the way, and then find the winning formula. So that's what I find a lot of people struggle with, and that's why they struggle in just life and entrepreneurship as well. They take too long to make decisions, like all the time. They try and perfect everything, they try and avoid mistakes, where they're just inevitable. No matter how much market research you do, no matter how much preparation that you have, there's no way you're avoiding mistakes. The only way to fully know the answer is just by doing it, and they fully understand that. So they just do it.
Welcome to another episode of the I Love Monday podcast. Today we have someone that Jurgen Klopp called the best tackler, and property investor Kevin Stewart. Thank you for coming on.
Cheers, bro. Thanks for having me on, man.
One thing I have to say is, before I started the podcast, I messaged you and you said you'll be my 25th episode.
Yeah.
And you've kept your word. Well, we're on about, I think this will be the 22nd episode, but you've kept your word.
Early gift, bro. Early gift.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hey, I get a lot of people asking for podcasts, and when I look at them, they just don't put no effort in whatsoever, or they'll start it and do 3 episodes, and I've traveled all the way there, do the episode, and then it just dies. I'm like, fucking hell, there's no point in me even coming on. So if it's someone I don't know personally, then I normally just say to them, oh, when you hit 25, when you hit 30, most people don't get back to me. So you stuck it out, and obviously you come back. So
no, I thought that was my motivation to make sure I get there.
Yeah. Well, like, I'm sure you would have been right. But I seen Gary Vee do that. That's where I got that from.
Okay.
Because he said he was pushing someone to start a podcast, and he said, all right, why don't you be my first guest? And he was like, no, I'll be your 50th. So he knows if he's serious and he's committed, then he'll get Gary Vee at 50.
Okay, I might message Gary Vee and ask him.
Yeah, well, it's a spur of the moment thing. It might not work.
Yeah.
But you can try it.
Okay, great. Let's talk about your early life first. What's your best or worst childhood memories growing up in Enfield?
Best or worst? But I didn't really have no dramatic or traumatic events in my childhood. I'd say it was very tough because, and my life is very tough because I have a lot of drive, I have a lot of urges and desires, and those things mean a lot to me, more than a lot of other people. So when I can't get them, it's very painful, more than maybe people can imagine. So for example, if I was to lose a football match, I could be so pissed, but to other people it's like, it's just a football match. I'm like, yeah, I know, but it's relative. But for me, that's very painful. Like I always say, the event doesn't matter themselves, it's about how relative it is. So for example, if you was close to your dad and I wasn't close to my dad at all, didn't know him, and our dads died, the event's the same, but one means a lot more to the other. I would just probably, someone who didn't know their dad would just get on with their day the next day, obviously the other one would be distraught. So that's how it is. And that was my childhood. I was very driven, I was very competitive, and I always wanted to win, and when I didn't, it hurt a lot. Or if I went to football and I wasn't one of the best, or had a shit training session, it would hurt a lot. So I'd say I never had crazy events, but every day was very hard for me.
Did that losing or having a bad training session push you?
Yeah, definitely. I've never ever been disheartened, I don't think ever in my life, where I'm like, I can't do this no more, never. So I've always come back the next day with the exact same, or even more drive than the day before. I've never lost my heart at all.
Where do you think that's come from? Is it from your family or?
I don't know. I actually don't know. I thought about it a lot, but I don't know. My dad never pushed me much. He was always, maybe that helped. I'm not sure, but he never pushed me. He never made me do anything I didn't want to do. It all came from me. It was all drive from me. So I'm not actually sure where it came from.
So when you joined Tottenham, how did you first get into there?
I first got into that. I got scouted from a Spurs scout when I was training with another team. It was Fulham's development centre, and that was a very tough time in my childhood, bro. That was when I used to play Sunday League, I was one of the best players. Socially, I was never great. I'm not actually sure why, but I was never great socially, and it was very cliquey there. I remember being very cliquey, and I went from being one of the best players in my Sunday League team to bottom of the pack.
Wow.
At that club, and so football-wise didn't go well, and socially didn't go well. I didn't really like any of the other players there, and the coaches there would push all the other players, and I felt kind of left out at the time. But then I got scouted from there, which was strange, bro, because I felt bottom of the pack, and then he watched everybody, and then chose me for some reason out of the pack. So I was very surprised by it. And then I just went on like a 6-week trial, and then I got signed from there. I think I was a good player. I lacked confidence, but I think one thing that's kind of pushed me throughout my career, people could see like the drive and desperation in me, and they probably overlooked the fact that maybe I was a little bit small, a little bit weaker, but they saw a lot of potential. I think that ended up like dragging me through a lot of my my career.
Did your lack of confidence show on the pitch or on the training ground?
Maybe not as obvious as I felt in myself, but I probably did. Yeah, the coaches probably could tell. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, and then obviously you got signed at Liverpool, which is a team, for me, unfortunately, you supported as a boy. I'm a United fan.
Yeah.
How did that feel? What was like your parents must have been super proud of you at that point as well.
Yeah, we were. It just come off the back of me being released. So it was an amazing opportunity, and I didn't see it coming at all. But yeah, my dad was proud, but it was never, I don't know, I wasn't majorly gassed off it because I was going into the academy. I wasn't like going signing for the first team. And I just struggled to get through Spurs. Okay. So in the back of my mind, I was like, shit, now I'm at Liverpool, it's kind of the same, or if not harder. So I just went there, bro, as always, bro, just complete hunger, complete graft, and just kind of just see where it took me.
So you know when you made your debut in the, it was the FA Cup? Mm. You made your debut for Liverpool.
Cup, yeah.
And I think I was just reading you came off loan a few hours before.
No, it was a bit longer than that. But you know what, bro, one thing that's weird, yeah, a lot of my triumphs have come just around the corner of unfortunate events. Like really crazy, like how I told you I was bottom of the pack when I was, before I just got scouted, just got released from Spurs, signed for Liverpool. And even when I made my debut for Liverpool, I was on loan at Swindon and I couldn't make the squad at Swindon within League One. I used to think, how the fuck am I going to make Liverpool's first team, bro? I can't even get into Swindon's first team in League One. Yeah. And then I was playing a game in the FA Cup where usually like you get the strongest team to play the league games, and then whoever didn't play usually plays in the FA Cup. So I was playing in that FA Cup, and I got injured. I done my MCL, and I went back to Liverpool to do the rehab. Yeah. So if things went well at Swindon and I was playing, I didn't get injured, I wouldn't have made my debut at that point anyways. So I'd come back from being injured, and then I was rehabbing, and I was just slowly building up again through Liverpool, and I just decided to stay there because there's no point in me going back to Swindon because I wasn't playing, and then it came.
You know when you first made your debut at Liverpool, was there ever a time in your mind where you thought, you know what, I've made it?
No, I've hardly ever felt like that. But, which I don't think is actually that good of a thing. I probably should have felt like I made it more, and then like use the momentum and the hype to keep going, where I kind of pull myself down a bit. I try and bring myself to reality too much. But I think some of the most successful guys that I've studied really play on it, and they really like feel it and keep going and try and kind of restrain away from just being like too humble in respect. So no, I was the opposite.
And what was like the kind of advice Klopp, for example, would give to you, or what would Klopp say to you, like at your debut on your first few games for Liverpool?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I only said we spoke loads at that time because I was just someone coming up. He didn't really know me. He would just kind of just say the obvious. For young players, he's very good at like taking the pressure off of them. Like he doesn't expect much, and he kind of lets you know that he wants you just kind of go out and just do what you do. Like don't try nothing different. So you kind of have that freedom at that point. So I felt quite free going on there. Obviously, there's a certain level of pressure. You're playing for Liverpool for the first time, so there is a level of pressure. But yeah, he makes you feel quite free, bro. So I was just happy to kind of just go out there and play.
One thing I've always been interested in is, for example, when you've got like a 18, 19-year-old footballer, they sign a new contract, that first paycheck hits their account. Is there any thought of investing, or is it always like, let's spend it? Because I don't know how much financial education you get as a footballer, and they probably need it more than most.
Yeah, bro, none. Or if you do get it, it's very shit advice. And that's something that I've been like quite passionate about changing. I'm slowly doing so. I'm hoping it works. But yeah, none, minimal, man, minimal. You kind of just the culture's very similar. Everyone kind of does the same thing, doesn't really do much. You kind of pass the responsibility on to someone else, whether it's like an agent, a financial advisor. And maybe it's changed. I don't know, I'm not like in the youth system no more, so it could have changed a little bit. But I know first team wise, when I was young, I always thought the first team guys had it, like everything off the pitch sorted. Like they must have crazy network, but it's just really not. Like it's not that at all. So yeah, the financial education is definitely low, and not a lot of players know what to do.
But is that why you think some players do end up going bankrupt or they struggle?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%.
Because I would always think even doesn't have to be a footballer, someone who's on a decent amount of money to start investing early, whether it's property, whether it's stocks, whether it's nowadays you've got crypto or other businesses, but to invest that early.
Yeah.
Because as we've seen with inflation, that money won't last in a bank.
Yeah, no, yeah, 100%, bro. But it's just not what people do. Or even if they do get some sort of help, it's usually not very good help. They might get told to buy buy-to-lets, but the buy-to-lets are quite shit. If I was to show you some of the deals, or any of the property guys that I know, the deals that we get advice to buy, they wouldn't touch it, like ever. They'll be like, "What the fuck is that? Why would you do that?"
Would you just be like 2-3% returns?
That, or it might just be a house that they lived at, and then they've moved, and now they're renting it out, and the ROI is like non-existent. A mix of that and just really bad deals, bro. But I've done it. I've done it early on as well. And then when I got educated and I looked back, I was like, oh my god, bro, what the fuck? Why did I do that? I mean, I know why I did it because I didn't know any better. But it's just kind of crazy, bro.
So when did you start first getting into property or deciding
properly?
That you want to invest?
2019.
Oh, that's recent.
2019, yeah, not that long ago.
Oh, did you buy your buy-to-let at that time? Or
no, I had two buy-to-lets before that I got advised to buy, which were the bad ones that I mentioned. Actually, one went terrible. I actually made a little bit of money off that, but the other one was quite bad. And bro, the story's kind of funny, bro. Like 2019, I was in a complete football bubble. It was just football, which I think you need to some regards to make it. Then I just remember, right, it was weird how it happened. But I just remember I kept getting, there was a week where I kept on getting loads of fines. And I got like a tax bill, speeding fine, just all sorts, bro, from my letterbox. Kept getting hit with them. And I just remember ranting to my missus, I was just getting pissed. I started getting on the whole fucking government spill. I was like, oh, the government are pissing me off, just taking my money every 2 minutes. And then I was like, me being petty as fuck. Can you spell on this, by the way?
Yeah.
I swore like 20 times already, but I remember being mad petty. And I was like, do you know what? I need to think of a way to get some of my money back. I'm gonna start looking into tax. By the way, bro, I knew nothing about tax. Most footballers don't know anything about tax. They don't even know what a tax write-off is. They don't know that you can buy a pair of football boots and that comes off your tax bill. It's crazy. They don't know anything. Majority, not all of them, obviously.
This is a gap in the market, man.
Oh yeah, Well, not really, bro. There's accountants, but they just don't use them for some reason. Or the accountants are not very good. I don't know why. But I'll explain to them. I'll be like, you bought like a £2,000 recovery equipment. You do know when you get, we obviously not, we get taxed first and then we receive the other half. I'm like, you do know if you put that through your tax, you will get the money back from that. And they're like, no way. I'm like, yeah, bro, it's crazy, isn't it?
I would have thought, like, even if it's like a player liaison officer or something would say,
that's not their job, bro.
But even if they connect them, say, you know what, you've just joined this club, accountant,
you think so, innit?
Financial advisor, whatever. Yeah.
But even bro, this is another thing, bro. Accountants kind of get me mad as well sometimes. I had to go through a lot of accountants to get ones that I liked, because some of them just have a problem with everything. I'm like, I bought this. They always say, oh, HMRC hate footballers. I'm like, I bought this. This is for my football career. And they're like, you can't write it off because you can't prove that it's beneficial to your career. I'm like, what? Bro, it's a recovery. It helps me recover to then play. But HMRC are going to be like, oh yeah, but you could just do without it. I'm like, that's just stupid, bro. Like,
but HMRC hate footballers.
But why? They should love them because they leave so much money on the table.
But I always thought that for like a footballer, you'll get paid into a limited company rather than through PAYE.
No, some people can do that through image rights, but you've got to be of a certain caliber. Okay. So like Ronaldo would get some of his wages into a company. I tried that.
HMRC said no?
HMRC didn't say no, the club said no, because if they said yes, if the club did it, the club have to approve of it first, but then if HMRC have a problem, they go for the club and not me. So they'll be liable to pay it if they couldn't get away with it.
And then it's all VAT and all of that comes into it as well.
Yeah. So it's just got a bit long, but we went off track there. So I was talking about
your first property due in 2019.
Oh yeah. So I just decided to start learning about tax. I was like, I need to make money back from somewhere. Let me go down the tax route somewhere because I'm getting taxed so much, bro. There must be a way for me to get some back. And then I just started looking into tax. Then I accidentally came across Samuel Leeds. Started watching all of his videos on YouTube because he was talking about tax at some point. Yeah. And then it just went from there, bro. I was just on YouTube. I was reading books, just like back to back, just like non-stop. This is kind of through COVID as well, so I had a lot of time. Okay. So I was just smashing it, bro. Networking like crazy, messaging people, having calls with them, learning about everything, and then looking for deals, just everything, bro. Did
you build like a small power team around you?
Not initially. In terms of power team, I mean, I built a network, I'd say, where, you know, if I had a property deal that I was looking at, I could send to someone, an actual property guy, not a financial advisor that don't know anything about property, an actual property guy, and he would look at it for me and say whether it's a good deal or not, tell me how to underwrite it, what to look for. So I'd say a network. I mean, I'd say I have a power team now, but before that, it was just a network, I'd say.
And then was your first deal in 2019 or 2020, the Birmingham one?
Yeah. So I moved quite quick.
Yeah. And then was it like you were looking for that kind of development, or were you?
Yeah, because
was that your strategy?
I started watching Grant Cardone a lot. And Grant Cardone, if people that are familiar with Grant Cardone, he's very big on the amount of units are very important in property, and I got it. So I didn't want to start small. I didn't want to just go and get buy-to-lets. That's how I started. I was looking at buy-to-lets. I actually put offers in on like a few of them. Luckily, it takes long to buy a property, or I would have bought a lot of probably shit ones again out of just eagerness to get involved. Not terrible ones. It probably would have been decent. I mean, I was probably looking at something that gives you like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10%. But luckily, I didn't. And then I thought I'm going to start looking for bigger stuff. Yeah. Just based off literally Grant Cardone's kind of method. And then, I went from there.
You JV'd with someone, isn't it?
Yeah, with Anthony.
Was he?
Which would be good he'll be good for the podcast, but he's never down here. But if you want to go to Birmingham, he'll be a very good one for this.
Did you know him before? Or was it like, again, a network thing?
Yeah, network thing. I just messaged him on Insta. I seen what he was doing. I watched a few of his YouTube videos. Looked like we'd get along. So I didn't go there for opportunities. I went there just to like look at his sites and meet him, speak to him about it, just to have like a bit of just have an ally, like another ally that does. He was the first person I seen doing bigger stuff. Okay. So I knew people that were doing buy-to-lets and rent-to-rents and stuff like that, but I didn't know anyone that done things of that size, and that's what I wanted to get into. So I was just looking to meet him. He took me around to a few of his sites, and then I was actually going to do a deal with somebody else. Then I passed him the deal to let me know whether it's good or not, whether it's worth doing, and he had the opportunity and was like, look, I know the deal you just gave me is decent, but from the goals that you told me that you had, it doesn't really align. I was like, yeah, you're right. And he was like, I have something for you that's a lot similar to what you're looking for, and then we just went from there.
So did you have any kind of like JV agreements, or were you skeptical of anything?
No.
Well, how come? Normally I would have like.
Bro, I'm very. I know this is going to sound crazy for due diligence, but I did get the deal and send it to another guy. So I could bounce deals about, bro, because I knew different people. So I knew I could trust this guy, I knew I could trust this guy. So if he gave me a deal, I'll pass it to him. If he gave me a deal, I'll pass it to him. And I know this is probably don't go down as due diligence, but I feel like I'm a very, very good judge of character in terms of like someone's integrity. Yeah. As long as I could understand the basic risks of property or doing a deal from the ground up, as long as I can understand the basic deals, bro, I know there's risk in everything. So I'm not someone who takes long, bro, to do a deal or sits on a decision for ages, bro. I can't do that, bro. I'm either like, let me understand the basics of the risks. Let me understand the basics of what the deal is. I'll get the solicitor to skim over the contracts, just make sure there's nothing crazy in there, then I'm just good to go, bro. I feel like, you know, I spoke to him a lot over the phone. Do you know you can meet someone and not spend a lot of time with them in person, or not spend a lot of time with them at all, but over a long period of time. But if you condense the amount of time you speak to someone, like if we spoke together like every day for 4 or 5 weeks, I feel like we'd know each other really, really well in a small space of time. Better than maybe, there's actually like a law for this. I can't remember what it's called, but it's something about like you condense time, where like one of your best friends that you could have known for 10 years, if you look at the amount of hours that you spoke, might add up to 20 hours, for example. But if I spend 20 hours with someone in like fucking 2 weeks, then you kind of get the same feel. So I feel like I knew him very well. I knew what he was about. I knew what his goals were. I knew his family, his values, his ethics. Do you know what I mean? So I didn't have any reservations, to be honest.
But it's also about you're probably probing him in the right areas as well. Like you want to know what his goals are, make sure his values, ethics, morals are aligned with yours to make sure, okay, cool, we're a good partnership.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and then what were the numbers for that deal?
Well, it changed a lot, bro. This was through COVID as well. So shit got a bit.
So did the supplier prices go up?
No. This is before the supply prices went up, but it was like in the middle of the craziness.
Yeah.
So bear in mind, so this is my first deal, bro. And once I panicked, bro, I found it all very interesting. But we went in straight away, like 2 weeks after COVID happened, the lender pulled out. So we had a lender fully ready. They pulled out. And obviously the hard part about it is that it's student accommodation. So timing is very important. You've got to have it finished for the academic year, or you're going to have an empty building for the whole year. So we was like, shit, lender's pulled out. There's 2 things we can do. We can either sit on it, not build it, but we had debt on the land, so we was paying interest, so that would have built up. We can sit on it for a whole year and build it when everything calms down, or we can just self-fund it and hopefully everything calms down in a few months and the lenders come back into the market. So we chose that way. So I already put like a few $100,000 into it, and then I just remember bro, putting money in again and again and again, like over and over. I was like, oh shit, this is getting real. So we had to just keep it moving, keep the project moving so we can make the deadline. And then we just obviously grafted to get another lender. Things calmed down a little bit, lenders started coming back in, not on the best of circumstances, so the numbers weren't great for us, but we had to move. So we ended up get it up and running after spending a lot more than we expected, but it still worked out very well. And
have you still got that property, or did you decide to sell?
No, we still got it.
So you decide to hold all of your assets now, isn't it?
Ideally. There could be a time where we sell, but ideally we do like to plan to hold.
What's your reason behind that?
I think just that's what the wealthier guys do. They don't really sell.
Yeah.
And then Grant Cardone speaks about it a lot. He's like, I used to own this and I sold it. If I kept it now, this is what it looks like. So I think if you don't, I think the gains are the gains and the rewards are a lot higher usually when you hold.
You also decided to document your property journey, isn't it?
Yeah, quite a bit, yeah. It's
quite unusual for a footballer to do that, because normally they keep that's like your private life or your business life. That's completely separate.
Yeah, but I think that's a bit selfish, bro. Like, I think me sharing that, bro, inspired a lot of other players to start like looking into stuff. Yeah, inspired a lot of other people that I know, and I don't know why people are so secretive, to be honest, bro.
Did you? What kind of feedback were you getting from players? Was it like, wow, how are you doing this? Or you didn't know certain things?
Well, there's two, bro. Fans, very bad feedback.
Really?
Yeah, bro, it's the worst.
Why?
This is a whole other story in itself. But bro, they have a club. They're at a club, right? They love this club. They live and breathe this club. They feel like this club is part of them and their life, which is cool. I get it. But they also are very entitled and feel like players should just solely play football, and that's it. They don't think about the footballer's life, the footballer's circumstances, the footballer's family, nothing. It's like, you play for this club. I want you to just 100%, don't look anywhere else. Just play football. And I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen.
It's like people have a problem with Jesse Lingard with all his, because he's got other business interests, but The way I've seen it is his career is short, or he could have an injury tomorrow and his career is over.
Exactly.
But then he's put his family into positions where he can support his family.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's got a plan after football.
Yeah, yeah. But it made it worse as well because throughout that time, I was injured. So bro, they literally believed, some people actually believed that I was faking an injury so I can pursue a property career, bro. It's ridiculous, bro.
But then you only go training, 4-5 hours a day?
Yeah, but what they don't also understand, because they didn't really think about it, is that, so this is what got funny, yeah, is that I would do 90% of my days, weeks, would be football, would be going in early, doing gym, rehabbing, strengthening, for like the whole day. Anthony would send me a few pictures of the property, and then obviously I'm not really posting much about football because I'm not playing.
Yeah.
You normally post about match days and shit. So I would be doing 90% football and 10% property, like at home, talking to Anthony, how's it going? Or going there once a month. So 90% football, 10% property, but it would look like on my socials that I was doing 90% property and 10% football because of just what I was posting.
Yeah.
So that's how it looked. So yeah, I got a lot of bad feedback from that.
And what was the second? Was it players? Feedback from players?
Feedback from players was good. Yeah, they really liked it. They've never really seen a player get involved in that or talk about it anyways. So they were very interested how I got into it, what the numbers were, and I'm very transparent, bro. I just told them exactly what it was in order to inspire them to go and do the same. So yeah, in terms of that, players liked it, for sure.
Was there any of the players were like, oh, we didn't know about this strategy and this strategy? Because normally,
yeah.
When it's like the basics of property, generally you think buy a property, you rent it out, and that's the standard vanilla buy to lets. But then when you look at buy refurb, refinance, or property developments, conversions, people think, wow, I didn't know you can do this. Yeah,
bro. When I had an operation in 2019, so this was like kind of through my property kind of career, I guess, or property journey. I went to Samuel Lee's crash course. Literally, I was like, went on crutches the day after my surgery. I went there, and bro, some of the strategies were blowing my mind. I was like, what? This is like a whole new world, bro. This is crazy. Like rent to rents, like you said, BRRs. What other stuff was there? That was kind of crazy.
You've probably done that, deal sourcing and stuff.
Deal sourcing, lease option agreements. I was like, nah, this is crazy. So yeah, bro, I didn't know anything about those. So it blew my mind when I went there.
That's quite interesting because it still blows my mind that the players or the wealthy people don't have that. Are not given that education.
Yeah, I know. Or just the basic business principles, bro. Like even just a network, bro. A network. I can't stress about how important that is. But players don't do it, bro. They don't go outside of the football space, football bubble, and build a network. The network's been the most important thing, bro. Anytime I've ever made money or ever gotten an opportunity, it's always been through a person.
Yeah.
So it's so vital.
Exactly. We were speaking off air. One of the guests on my podcast, he just referred a client to me, but it's a network.
Yeah. It always think about anything, bro. Think about anything good that happened in your life. You probably came through a person.
Yeah.
Through knowing a person.
And even generally, a lot of small businesses, I'm not sure about medium-sized and large ones, small businesses, their main source of income is word of mouth. Main source of leads, rather, is word of mouth.
Yeah, definitely. It's crazy, man. So when I started understanding that, I just spoke to everyone and anyone.
So what kind of property deals have you done since then?
So not many, because I've always, them kind of deals that, I set the bar high, bro, with that one. I was like, it was a very good deal. I like the size, I like how the bigger deals work. So them deals are like quite far and few between. So I've done that one, and then there's a second phase, which is being completed this summer, literally in like a month or two. So the first one was 48 studio apartments. This is 108 beds. So it's a two-part deal. So that's going to be finished this summer. We also have like an option in place on another one in Birmingham. It's a crazy one. It's like 350 beds. But that's taken quite a long time to put together and sort out. There's a lot of stuff that I don't understand that Anthony's taking care of. So those are the three that I've got going on at the minute.
What other business interests do you have?
Quite a few, bro. Like And do you know what's crazy? I know we're talking about like the benefits of having the podcast here. Is majority of them came through the podcast. All of them came actually through the podcast. So there's one I just launched a few weeks ago. It's an online coaching and support platform for aspiring pros and young pros. So this is something, bro, that I wish I had when I was younger, growing up in my football journey. So obviously, an aspiring pro's got a lot of problems. One, obviously, the journey they've chosen is a very, very hard one. Like they share the same goal as tens of millions of other young kids, and they lack a lot of education and a lot of guidance. And a lot of them all of them I've had to overcome throughout my career. So,
what's something you provide them that you wish you had?
So, access to clubs and opportunities if they're good enough, and to support how to train, when to train, what to eat, how to recover. The biggest thing that when I'm on my coaching calls, I can see that it's not actually that much about football. It's all about mindset, bro. I'm just teaching them lifestyle and mindset advice, really, because that's what it is, bro. It's all 80% mindset. So a little bit will be obviously 20-30% of it will be nutrition. It will be tactical. It will be how to improve technically or how to improve just performance in general. But majority, bro, is just mindset.
What kind of mindset advice do you give? Because I'm assuming that can also be applied to business as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot of it is just like overcoming yourself, really, overcoming self-sabotage, increasing confidence, stress management, just removing fear, stripping limiting beliefs. That's the main thing about it. A lot of people have, but a lot of these young kids have as well.
Are these things that you've come up yourself, or is it things that you've been taught?
Things I've overcome myself and things that I've been taught or I've overcome through the help of somebody else. Some of my biggest challenges I've been pointed in the right direction. Like it's taken me so long to overcome a certain problem, and then someone would just point me in the right way where I might have to pay for it, bro. Like one of the most beneficial mentorships I've ever had, I paid $7.5 grand for, and I overcome a lot of problems. He helped me get through a lot of challenges and a lot of mindset things that I'd like almost gotten over, but I just needed to put the last little pieces together, and he kind of provided that for me, so it was like invaluable. So that we have a community. We've got loads of different rooms. So we've got like the changing rooms where it's like the general chat where people just can connect to each other, share ideas, share strategies, share their journeys of what's going on. We've got a room called the kitchen, which is the nutrition room, where we've got our own nutritionists in there that have helped us throughout our career with our nutrition, just in there to just help them with their questions, their queries, and then like an iron room, which is the gym room, where we've got our S&C coaches in there that will help them improve physically and just help improve performance. A physio room, we've got our own physios in there. If someone gets injured, they don't know what to do, they'll like post it into the chat, and they'll get guidance and support there, or like a consultation with one of the physios. Just, bro, like all the aspects of football that they need, they've just got them covered. So the only thing they need now is just a bit of fucking drive and desire to become a pro.
That's that 80% of mindset, isn't it?
Yeah.
But do you find a lot of the aspiring footballers struggle in terms of making it? Because I can imagine there to be so many mental blocks. Like you just said, there's tens of millions of people who want to become a footballer, and to think you're one of 10 million, that's what, 0.001% chance.
Do you know what it is with them? Why I respect aspiring pros and why I want to help them? Because they're crazy enough to try and do it.
Yeah.
Like, bro, like people, no matter how, they know how hard it is to be a footballer. They know it's like very, very limited places, but they still try and they still want to do it. So I respect that. I'm like, cool, like, I'll help you as long as you actually want to do it. Some of them don't actually want to do it, bro. They'll be like DMing me, I really want to become a pro. Can you help me? Can you help me? Yeah, cool. Join my program, bro. It's £35 a month. They're like, nah, bro, what do you mean? Like, I've got everything in here. This is literally the best chance you will ever have making it through the guidance that I have here. You can't get this nowhere else. And for £35 a month, it just completely puts them off. So I'm like, you really want it.
How long have you been running that for? Not
long. A couple of weeks. It only launched a couple of weeks. A soft launch, actually. So we've actually not launched proper. It'll be this week that we proper open it out. We put it to limited spaces, just to make sure all the tech works, everything runs smooth. Like even at the beginning, we had some issues of people accessing like the Discord. our group chats. So everything's running smooth now. So we're gonna like really, really push it.
Are you planning to scale that up nationally?
Yeah. Big. Like try to take it as far as possible. Try and reach as many people as possible. But also one thing that we're providing, which I think is very, very sick. I'm very proud that we've done this. Is there's two problems that aspiring footballers have. Obviously, one, becoming a footballer, and two is money. So a lot of them obviously can't. We're aiming it at like 15-year-olds, 16, 17, 18, 19. Obviously, a lot of them don't have much money, not even the £35 a month. So we've created a way for them to make money as well inside the program. So at least our goal is to at least get them to cover just their membership, which isn't that difficult for what we have. And then if they want to take it further and keep making more, where they can get to the point where they don't have to work a 12-hour shift at ASDA and then force themselves to train at 8 p.m. Where if they get to the point where they're young, so they don't have many outgoings, they probably live at home. So £100 a month, £200 a month for them, like change their life, bro. Then they could just focus completely on football, control their own days, train in the mornings, and just dedicate themselves 100% to football. So that's very important. So we're really going to try to help them with that as well.
What gives you the drive to do this? Because you've got your fingers in many pies. You're still a professional footballer. You're in property. You've got your other businesses, and now you're helping young aspiring footballers. What gives you the drive, and where do you find the time?
Yeah, one where it's not. It sounds crazy when you say it, but if you position it in certain ways. So for the property, I'm not like the developer. I'm not fucking building the bricks and shit and running all the numbers. I have a very, very trustworthy partner who does all the legwork. That's his daily work. So I can get involved as much as I'd like to. That's what obviously the people in football don't understand. They think I'm just doing everything, which is not the case at all. I can be involved as much as I want to. Like, I haven't been to Birmingham to see that property in for months, like 6-7 months or some shit. So he just runs, bro. Everything I do, I have partners and I leverage people a lot and I leverage whatever I can to make sure I'm only doing like the important stuff. So he'll call me if there's an issue or we need to put more money in or something, and then call like I'm on it, but I don't have to do that much. So time-wise isn't really a problem. I'm probably maybe at the brim now. I probably wouldn't take on any more. But drive-wise, I think the more challenged I get, the more apparent it becomes that I'm supposed to help other people. Like for example, right, probably the hardest year of my life has been the year just gone. I've been injured all year. Like I said before, okay, it's an injury, but it's relative, and people that know me very well couldn't imagine how I'd cope if I couldn't play football for a year. So that's been a huge challenge, and a lot of family issues in between that at the same time as well. And it just became the only escape sometimes that I felt like I got from that is when I helped people. So that made me feel better.
Why do you think that is?
I just think that's instilled in us.
As humans?
As humans, yeah. When you help someone, you just feel better.
Yeah.
Like, next time you're helping someone, I don't know, someone comes to you for advice and you're helping them, at that time, if you're conscious at that time, all your own worries, bro, just vanish. Like if I'm talking to someone about their injuries, mine go out the window. So I think that's why I've just really played on that. Like whenever shit's going bad for me, I'll just help someone.
Is that the one thing that you constantly do when you've got setbacks?
But now because I know it's right and it makes me feel better, I just make it part of my daily life now. So I wake up every single day, it's like, right, who do I help? How can I help? So if I have a business that helps people, I've always got the opportunity to do it constantly.
So if you talk about 10 years ago and you have a similar setback and injury for a few weeks or a few months, what would you have done then?
Just go through it, innit? Just grind through it, bro. Just some people might say like distract yourself, go out. I've never really been the type to do that. Yeah, but I think just the back then, I never really had any bad injuries back then, so I never really got faced with that. But bro, I used to like I'd see a teammate that was out for a year, and I'd be like, oh my god, bro, I couldn't even imagine it. Like, I don't how do you even cope with that? It's just crazy. Then obviously it ended up happening to me, bro. Yeah, so at the time I didn't really have that problem. All my problems were just like progress, trying to get to the next level. But at least them problems were better because I could always have another go at it tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. When you're injured, bro, you're stagnant, bro. You can't move. So that's the hardest part about it.
Tell me about your podcast. Why you started it? What's the motivation behind it?
Yeah, podcast was just me getting deeper into business, building a bigger network. Networking was a massive part. I also wanted to help people get a little bit more educated financially. Because I used to meet people before the podcast. I used to meet and network with people and have crazy conversations that blew my mind. I was like, no, it's crazy. Like, I just entered a new world. He just taught me so much. And I'd be on the way home and I'd be like, fuck, I should have recorded that. Like, I would have loved to send that to my cousin, or I would have loved to send it to my friend or my teammate. So then I just decided to have more of those and then actually record it, so start a podcast. So it was that, helping other people get educated so they can listen to it as well. Networking was a massive thing. It makes it so much easier to meet people because you actually have a reason to create something together. Those were the main two.
Because a lot of people ask me as well, why have you started the podcast? And number one is network. Is you build a network, and sometimes you don't realize, or you're unable to have a conversation like this for an hour with someone for whatever reason. But now, because it's mutually beneficial, we know that I would learn something from you, and at the same time is you might plug me somewhere else.
Yeah.
Or it could be vice versa. Someone that needs your services,
Defo.
I can say, you know what, Kevin Stewart's guy. Yeah,
defo. But then some people as well, bro, like someone who's got like a lot of money or they're very successful, it's hard to give them something they want. But you realize like a lot of them just sometimes want to just tell their story, or they want to just speak so it might inspire somebody else. And so someone who has a podcast, you could be quite valuable to someone who you struggle to find value or find a reason to speak to them or connect with them. Like, you can't give them nothing.
That's what I realized with when I done Kent Teague, the owner of Leighton Orient.
Yeah.
He don't need me, because he said that, for example, the minimum property deal he would go for is 10 million plus. He got recruited by Bill Gates. He's made it in life. This is a plaything for him.
Yeah.
In fact, he used this to launch other businesses in UK. But for him, it's how can he help other people? And he's given advice about how he made it to help, in the hope that someone else becomes not necessarily like him, but someone else gets inspired. Yeah,
exactly, bro. Exactly. And obviously, a lot of the guys guys that successful, just no one knows them.
Yeah.
So just providing them a platform is very valuable for them. Or just, he probably would have, I'm not sure if he's ever been on any other podcast, but he's probably never told his story ever.
I don't think he has. He's been on a couple of Leighton Orient ones, but that was just about Leighton Orient. This one spoke about him. Yeah. And how he got recruited by Bill Gates and how Zig Ziglar helped him in his life, and it's completely different.
Yeah. There was a guy, bro. He's a developer in Manchester, massive developer, bro. Like crazy deals. He was showing me around some of his deals. I was like, these are mad. Just even the design of them was sick. And then I remember just looking at them, and he was standing there, and I was looking at them. I was thinking, and I said to him, I was like, bro, don't you find it mad, that no one, outside of property in your field, no one knows you. Like, no one will look at this building and be like, oh yeah, just say his name was Dave. Dave built that. I was like, do you not want people to know like who you are? I don't know why I changed his name. His name's Tim. Do you not want like more people to know your name, or to get more recognition for it? And he's like, yeah, to be fair, like I do. And I was like, oh shit, I feel you, bro. But now he does a lot of content now, so he's starting to get known. But that's what I mean, bro. People like that, bro. Just that have an amazing story. Like, he started from absolutely nothing. He calls himself a failed lawyer, and then he just started off fixing up cars. Then he went to property, started fixing up properties. Now he's building like 250 million worth of properties in Manchester. Big. One deal as well, like 550 apartments, and just no one knows that he built it.
I think sometimes with property developers, because we had a client who owned a pub and wanted to develop on the pub, because I don't want no one to know it's me. He created like a structure where his name's not even there, but it's there. And he said there's just too much public public bashing on this because he wanted to put planning through. The locals said, no, we want to keep it as a pub.
Yeah.
And he said, because of that, I don't want my name on it.
Yeah, I get shit like that. That's obviously strategic wise, but
generally, yeah, people want to. I think everyone it's an innate thing in a human to want to tell your story.
Yeah, for sure. Unless you've been through like, I don't know, some sort of traumatic story where it's like, no, I'm not even doing it, which is rare, but yeah, you're right. Most people do.
What's like the one key thing you've learned from your podcast?
From my podcast, do you know what I think it was? It's not so much about what I learned, but I think it reaffirmed a lot of the things and the beliefs that I had of successful people, like how their stories go. And one thing that I actually learned, which is it's not very tangible or something that I can fully explain, but and this is something that I'm good at, and I've done this throughout my career as well, is like stealing people's style and like stealing people's energy. So when I'm running my businesses now, I kind of act like the guys who I spoke to in certain situations. Like if I know someone really well, I know how they would act in a certain situation.
Can you give an example?
Like, let's just say I had an issue with the business. Okay, no, here's a better example. This is something I do a lot. A lot of them have abundant mindsets. So they don't fear, or they purposely don't put their mindset in like lack. So for example, let's go to football. Let's say there was like this really cool equipment that I feel like would take my recovery to the next level, or it would improve me so much, but it costs a lot of money. And I'd sit and I'd be like, oh no, but it's too expensive. Knowing that it's very beneficial, it's too expensive. I would put on my Rob Moore hat, who I spoke to, and I know that he'd be like, no, easy, no brainer, it's an investment. You can write it off anyways, and he would just spend it, no hesitation, abundance mindset, don't worry, I'll make the money back. That's how they act. So that's what I mean with like their energy and their demeanor and their mindset with certain situations. So now, whenever I make a decision based off a lack mindset, I'll lean into it and go the other way. So if I fear like I don't have enough money, or that's too expensive, but I kind of know I need it. Not like any stupid purpose, like I'm just gonna go get a Lamborghini for the sake of getting a Lamborghini. But if it's something that I really wanted, or I feel like it's beneficial, and I start getting that into a lack mindset, oh no, but what if I don't make that money back? Then I'll just move into it, bro. I'm like, no, fuck that, I'm buying it, done. Because that's how they act.
Yeah, I think a lot of the successful people are ruthless in decisions, but in either positive or negative decisions.
Yeah.
And they're quick to act.
And then, bro, they're not scared of failing at all. They'd rather fail quickly rather than take 5 months to try and make everything perfect, try and avoid loads of different mistakes. They'd rather just go into it, do it, make the mistakes quick, get them out of the way, and then find the winning formula. So that's what I find a lot of people struggle with, and that's why they struggle in just life and entrepreneurship as well. They take too long to make decisions, like all the time. They try and perfect everything, they try and avoid mistakes, where they're just inevitable. No matter how much market research you do, no matter how much preparation that you have, there's no way you're avoiding mistakes. The only way to fully know the answer is just by doing it, and they fully understand that. So they just do it.
One thing my dad's actually always taught me is, he goes, never be afraid to make mistakes. And that's always stuck in my head, because you need the freedom to fail to actually be successful. Yeah. Because if you're afraid of making mistakes, you're not going to take them steps going forward.
Yeah. Me and my business partner, bro, this is where we clash a little bit, because he's like a perfectionist. He wants to make everything perfect. So even with the platform, he was like, oh no, but I'm not sure how this is going to work. I'm like, bro, just launch it. Like, just launch it. Just do it. If we make a mistake here, then we know it's a mistake. Like, you can try and prep as much as you want to prep, but you're going to make a mistake anyway. We're going to just be back at square one, and we're going to have to fix it.
But I think a lot of tech platforms do that now. They just release it, like their beta versions, and then they know, okay, there's a coding error here, let's fix it. Coding error here, let's fix it. Yeah. Because that industry moves so fast that you'll be left behind if you don't release it.
Yeah.
And it's the same in business.
Yeah. I think people try and fix problems before the problems even come.
Yeah.
I think that's where the issue is, rather than just get to the problem. If it is a problem, then fix it.
Yeah.
Samuel Lees used to say something. about I can't remember what it was, but it's something with that mindset. It was like something along the lines of this isn't what he said, but it's something along the lines of this. You get the gist. It's like I'm gonna source this property. Oh, I want to source this property, and then it's a really good deal. I want to buy it. I want to develop it. Oh, but I haven't got enough money to develop it, or I don't have a JV, and he would be like, but that problem's not here yet. Just go and source a deal, do your due diligence, and then that's a good problem to have because you're at that level. So you're worrying about the problem too early. Do everything, do the work, and then when you get to that problem, solve the problem there, rather than trying to get everything pieced together here and then go and do something.
Because sometimes by the time you piece it together,
I fucked that up, man. It's a good lesson there that I used to say, but I forgot it. I fucked it up. But you get the gist.
But sometimes it's because that deal won't stay if you start perfecting it.
Exactly. You lose it, bro. You just lose it.
And also, by the time that gets to, for example, developing and funding stage, that person who you've asked for funding or company you've asked for funding won't help you or won't be able to help you.
Yeah. And also, and it's kind of similar, something that Anthony says, that very good point, that he tells a lot of his guys. He says, finding, let me make sure you get this right, this one is good. It's finding the money for a deal isn't the hard part. The hardest part is getting to the point where you need the money.
Yeah.
That's it. Right. That's it. Yeah, you get it.
Yeah.
So people are like, they try and get the funding now. Like, oh, it's so hard to raise money. They're like, but do you have a deal? Do you have a good deal? The hardest part is getting to the point where now you actually need the money.
The hardest part is finding a good deal.
Finding the good deal, packaging it up, running all the numbers, making sure it stacks. That's the hard part. And then when you actually get to the point where it's a very good deal, then the money is easier than the part you just did.
Because that's, again, it goes back to network.
Yeah.
You look within your network, someone's looking to invest.
Yeah, exactly. But getting to that point is actually harder than getting the money.
What kind of similar traits have you seen in the successful business owners that you've spoken to and the successful football managers you played under?
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard because I didn't really know the managers personally. I wouldn't say I've ever had a deep relationship with a manager. But one thing I would say though, it sounds like I'm really kind of discrediting a lot of sports guys, but a lot of people think that a business mind and an athlete's mind is similar, but I don't think it is.
Why not?
I feel like when I speak to footballers about stuff, a lot of them are very fearful in the way they live. They're good at what they do, but they're very fearful and they're just not that efficient with doing things. They take a long time to do things. They worry a lot, where a lot of the guys that I speak to in business, very, very fearless. They move very quick. They just make the most out of life. They're just always trying to do things. They're just, the strategy, how they live is very different.
The way I've seen it, I'm looking at, as a United fan, Alex Ferguson, but obviously he's a different level. He's elite level, like Pep and Klopp and everyone. But he would give advice to business leaders at Harvard Uni, but the advices that he would give in terms of management would probably stay very true to business owners.
Yeah, I think managers and business minds would relate more than footballers and business minds. So I'll get that in terms of like strategy, how to motivate their players, and obviously for them how to motivate their employees, their staff. So that relates a lot, I would say.
And then you've also got like the man management side.
The man management side, yeah, that relates.
Motivation and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. This is an interesting one because I've always thought, how is a transfer done, especially like, for example, deadline day? Because I'm looking at the way property takes 3, 4, 5, some take 8, 9 months. You got due diligence, searches and all that, exchange, completion. How does a transfer differ from that?
I don't know the ins and outs of a transfer, to be fair. There's a lot of stuff that can go on that players don't really know. like when I done one of my deal in 2017, I wish at that time I knew what I knew now, or I was that invested in business as much as I am now, because I really would have like found out how it works. But I don't actually know, to be fair. I wish I did.
Because it's just something I've been interested in, because sometimes you see like a massive deadline day deal go through, and we're talking 8 figures, but how does it get done so quick? I'm guessing like the searches, the paperwork is ready, but... Yeah,
obviously there's a basic. So obviously a club would show interest, they know who to contact, they go and contact the other club, they'll ask about their situation, you know, do you want to sell him? What's he on? What do you want for him? And then it'd just be a negotiation thing. And then the clubs would have the agreement first. So the club would be like, okay, yeah, cool, we're happy with that. And then maybe and then they'll ring the agent will ring the player. The club have agreed for you to go to this club. So then now the player and club need to negotiate wages and everything. And then if that works, he'll go have a medical. So he'll be driving, like, if it's deadline day, bro, he needs to go ASAP. So he'll go have a medical. If everything checks out with the medical, then they just sign. And obviously the deals differ as well. So it could just be a straight one fee, here 3 million, here we'll take him. Or it could be an ongoing one, which a lot are. So we want 5 million, but we can only pay 3 right now. So we'll pay you 3 now, and then we'll pay you 2 million over the next 2 years. That's usually if you work some shit like that.
Do you generally get like solicitors involved? Or are they always involved? Or is that like the agent's job to sort that out?
It's the agent's job, but obviously the clubs would each have their own solicitors, yeah.
Okay, it's quite interesting.
Yeah. We don't even know the ins and outs, man. There's a lot of stuff going on, bro. There's probably... So with mine, I just thought obviously club, me, agent.
Yeah.
But bro, there could have been like so many more people involved, bro. I have no idea.
Because for me, from a business perspective, I'm always interested in how, because some of them get done super quick.
Yeah.
How it gets done, then the nitty gritty part as well.
Yeah, but some of them would probably have been in the pipeline a lot longer than you think. Some of them are quick. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of them would have been in the pipeline. But it's kept very, very quiet.
Yeah, that has to be done, isn't it?
Mm.
If you had a 16-year-old Kevin Stewart next to you, what would you say to him?
That's vague, man. Vague. I don't know. It depends on obviously what the situation is, what he's asking.
He just wants life advice.
They're exactly the same 16-year-old that I was.
Yeah.
Bro, what? I mean, it's not something that could be said over a conversation. It would be the most valuable thing would be like the daily support for different things. Because that 16-year-old, there was a lot going on, bro. Like whether it would be mindset, it'd be confidence, it'd be strategy, it'd be lifestyle. So it couldn't be a one conversation thing. Like if he was sitting there, there's nothing groundbreaking I could say to him that he would leave with and be like, oh my God, that thing that Kev said stuck with me my whole life. I don't think I could give him that. But if it was on a daily basis, like how I'm with my kids, then it could be very, very valuable. But football-wise, I would definitely, one thing I wish I knew earlier is to treat it and myself like a business. So I would tell him to go and learn how business works and treat your career the same. That's one thing that stands out for me in my career that I wish I knew earlier. Is strategy, like desire, how to play football, how to improve football-wise. I got that, but strategy-wise, I didn't know.
Would you also like push, or maybe something you do with your kids, but learn how the world works as well? Because footballers are like sheltered in the way that they're protected from a lot.
Yeah. I think, to be fair, I'm grateful for where I grew up. So I felt like I knew a lot about how the world worked and how people worked from a young age. But just the other side, like this, bro, like, you know, this kind of area, London, Stratford, Enfield, you get to know that quick, and living in London gives you a lot of life experience. Yeah, like so many different cultures. You know, I went to school with Muslims, Christians, blacks, whites, Asians, like I knew people's cultures.
What's next for Kevin Stewart?
To get back playing, for sure, number one priority, which I'm closing in on. It's been a long time, and people. It's hard to understand, bro. Just how much I've missed it. So that's first priority. Second is to grow the football company. It's called The Program. that's something I can see myself do. But I can't ever see myself getting like a normal coaching job at a club. I think a lot of players do that out of lack of options. So I would love to coach on my own terms, make a lot more money doing it as well, and also affect and coach thousands of people rather than just your squad of 20. And also, I think it would be very good if it works. I'd love to teach other footballers how to do it, to give them another option. Because, bro, when you play football and then you stop playing, think like when you start at age 20 or obviously younger, that's when you make the most money, and that's when your knowledge of the game is lower. And then when you get to 35, that's where your knowledge is at the maximum, but then that's when your pay goes crashing down.
Yeah.
But I'd like mine to go the other way. Obviously, like my value, I know the most about mindset and the game now, so my earnings should go up. But that's not usually how it happens. So I'd like to kind of just try and change the game a little bit.
What's your plans after you retire? Or is that something you've not really fully thought about?
No, yeah, I'll be heavily in business. I think my life, it's kind of good a little bit of being injured, because I've kind of seen how my life would be.
Yeah.
So just running multiple businesses. I'd like my coaching and football business to be the main thing that I do, where I'm just helping other people, achieve their dreams. So going around coaching kids, doing talks, helping people, running the business, and just teaching, as many kids and parents. That's so important that I teach parents as well how to operate and how to train their kids and how to support their kids throughout their journey. A lot of parents get that wrong. So I can imagine spending most of my time doing that. Then obviously I have property in the background, have another business that will be launching soon, where it's like a private members club, like a I say online network, but it's gonna be in person as well, but mainly online. Just like high net worth individuals, just super entrepreneurs, all in one platform.
Like a war room.
Like a war room, yeah, similar to a war room. That idea started off as I wanted to link sports and business together. So my network in business, my network in football, and bring them together, because these guys need that, and these guys would like that as well, the connect, and remove the middlemen that don't do anything, that act like they're doing something, and bring them together, bro. Give them the kind of access to deals that I have and the opportunities that I have, which would help them, help their families, help them after their career. So that's how it started. I want to bring those guys together. And then not even just footballers as well, bro, just like normal professionals that also don't know nothing about tax, that also don't have no access to property deals, and just bring them kind of guys together. People that want to grow though. I said that high net worth and super entrepreneurs because that's the kind of bar I want to set. It doesn't mean that you can't come into it if you're just coming up, but you've got to have a certain mindset. So we vet people quite hard coming into that. So that's what it will do. I think just being in business really. Hoping my kids play as well. That will be good. It will go hand in hand with the business. I can take them places. They can help me train others. I'd love for them to teach younger kids that are behind them, help them train. That's what I kind of visualize. And then going to their games, traveling to all their games. Bro, if it's up to me and if the life pans out how I would like to, I wouldn't miss a single game. Travel everywhere with them to watch them play. So that's how I see it going.
Are there any academies at the moment?
No, they're only 4 and 3.
Okay.
But to be fair, bro, they probably could at this age. Like they take them at any age.
Yeah.
But no, not now. They just enjoy playing, man.
Do you see yourself a bit like a Gary Neville, just after football, focus on business?
I don't really think he's a beast, bro. Like,
yeah.
I heard some things, but it looks like he spends obviously a lot of his time doing punditry, which I wouldn't do.
I think Carragher once said that. Gary Neville, as soon as he finds like a 10-minute gap, he's on his emails checking something or replying to something, even while he's about to commentate or co-commentate on the game. Yeah, but
he's still heavily attached to professional football, which I don't think I would be. I'm not that, I don't really watch football. I don't really stay updated with transfers. I don't watch that many games. I don't I'm not that, as a fan, I'm not that interested in football. I love playing it, I love competing. I watch hours of watching the opposition team, I watch hours of watching myself back playing and watching my team back playing, learning about why did we lose, why did it feel like they had another man, stuff like that. I'm very, very interested in. In terms of just watching, I'm not interested. So as soon as I finish playing, I don't think I'll be in and around the professional game that much, unless it's with a player that I'm.
Have you always been like that? Or is that over time it's changed?
Yeah, I've always kind of been like that. I mean, as a kid, I watched it a lot more. But from the age of, I don't know, 15, 16, I never really watched it. Which people find, I always say a thing about Ben White. People bug out that Ben White don't watch football. I'm like, right, it just makes, I fully get it. I don't see why people don't get that.
I guess there's a way for them to just block it out and do something else as a distraction. Or...
Yeah, bro. I even tweeted once. I said like it's like an entrepreneur coming home and watching like Dragon's Den. Like, just you've done it all day. It's just not. Yeah, you don't want to come home and just. Bro, for a footballer, it's hard, and this is probably the main reason why I don't watch it, because it's hard for me to watch a game of football without analysing it, and without going into. Into like analytical mode where I'm just like. Trying to improve at the same time as watching the game. Or I'm watching Kevin De Bruyne. I'm like seeing how he does stuff. I can't just watch it. So it's work for me. That's why I don't watch it.
It's not a relaxing thing then, is it?
Yeah, I can't relax. I can't.
But then would you watch Dragons Den?
Yeah, I watch Dragons Den. Because then I could just... To be fair, it even gets to a point where I can't relax then. The more I start getting interested in business, because like he'll say something and I'll start trying to work out the maths and shit. So it gets a little bit like work then as well. So now, bro, the only time I watch something is if like it's just entertaining.
Would you ever go on Dragons Den with any of your ideas? Because again, it's not necessarily about the finance side, but you're opening a whole new network. Yeah,
it would be something like that. I know Aaron Branch. I don't know if you heard Aaron Branch. So he went on, and I knew, bro. I was watching him, like he was posting saying, "Oh, I'm coming on Dragons Den at this time." So obviously I was there watching. And then I was listening to him speaking, and then I texted him. I was like, bro, you do not want any of the money that they're offering, innit? You just went on there for the hype. And he was like, yeah, you just went on there, bro, just for publicity. And I was like, yeah, I knew it, bro. Yeah, content, bro. He used the content from Dragon's Den for fucking every single day for the next year. But it was just funny, bro, because I knew he went on there. Like he told me how much he needed before he went on, like how much the business, because he wanted me to invest in it. It's like, we need this amount. So then when he went on there and asked for 50 grand, I was like, bro, there's no way you went on there hoping to get 50 grand. There's no way. So if I did go on, it'd be literally for either for network, for content, for publicity. It wouldn't be to get a partner at all. Okay, no,
that's pretty much the reason I think a lot of people go on there.
Yeah.
Aaron's put on his Instagram bio, Dragons Den.
Yeah.
I've spoken to him a couple of times, but yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, sick guy.
Before we finish, have a quick fire round.
Cool.
Favorite football player?
Ronaldinho.
He was sick.
Sick.
Best player you've played against?
This is a bit of a tricky one, because the best player I played against is Messi, but on the day he weren't the best player that I played against. I would say the best player that I played against on the day was Willian from Chelsea. Sharp.
Favorite food?
Caribbean food, which I'm vegan now, so it makes it very difficult. But Caribbean.
When did you become vegan?
About 5.5 years ago.
How come? Was it more of a fitness thing?
Yeah, it started off performance-wise. I was interested to see if it made any difference, and then I started watching documentaries on health. I got put off meat like literally overnight, where I just took everything out my fridge. It's gone. But I'd go back to it every now and then. I felt like it made sense to me, bro. The points they were making, it just made sense. And I'm very logical, and I don't find it hard to make a change if I feel like it's right. I don't care if I've done it all my life. I don't care if it's a tradition. I don't care if like an expert says that you need to eat this. If I don't feel like it's right, I'll just stop. So I stopped. But then I'll dive into, every now and then I'd have dairy, or once every like few weeks I'd just have meat for the sake of it, or because there was nothing else to eat. But then when I started looking into it more, I started learning about how the industry works, how they treat animals. I didn't want to support it no more, bro. So like even that day, bro, I stopped wearing like leather, silk, any animal products.
So you went
Stopped
full?
using. Yeah, I went full. Yeah. I couldn't justify it, bro.
So what's your favorite vegan dish?
Favorite vegan dish, bro. There was a Chinese that I went to in York. It's the best vegan restaurant I've ever been to, bro. It's unbelievable. It's unreal. So I'd say, yeah, probably a Chinese meal from that specific restaurant. Very nice.
Favorite holiday destination?
Favorite holiday destination? Dubai, bro.
You went to Dubai recently?
The first time I went, yeah.
Was it the first time?
Yeah, first time.
How did you find it? Did you go for holiday or work?
Both.
Yeah, both.
It quickly turned into work, bro. So it was very hard to balance. Like I launched the program out there.
Okay.
And the online network that I was telling you about is going to be heavily based in Dubai, UK and Dubai, but there's going to be a big network out there in Dubai. So I did a lot of work out there, but it was good, man. It was good. I really enjoyed it. First time out there as well, so it's interesting.
Actually, Dubai is a sick place to network.
Bro, yeah, unbelievable.
Because everyone I know that's moved there, you might know James Sahota. Sahota.
No.
He's big in property here, and then he's moved over there. But even he was saying, because everyone's out there for business, but it's different because everyone wants to help each other.
Yeah.
Here it's different.
Yeah. People go there for that reason, man. So everyone's vetted, bro. You know that they're of a mindset or that, they're of a certain way of doing things. They want to grow, they want to meet people. So it's just very easy, bro. You don't know in England, you don't know who wants to talk, who doesn't. So yeah, it's good out there, man.
Favorite book?
Favorite book? I'd probably say there's a few, but one that just went to my mind straight away was one called Outwitting the Devil, Napoleon Hill.
I've not heard of that.
Very good book, bro. Mindset-wise, the best book I've read.
As a midfielder, I have to ask you, Gerrard Lampard's goals?
Gerrard.
Scores for me.
Whether it's biased or not, I don't know, but it's Gerrard.
Favorite day?
Favorite?
Day of the week.
Day of the week? Monday, bro. Do you know what? It actually is Monday.
Why?
I'm not even actually lying, bro. I don't really... I'm very grateful to be living a life where I look forward to Monday. Like, weekends piss me off. I can't call no one. Everyone's closed. And I just want to start again. I want to go again. I want to do the week. I've got stuff to do. I've got stuff to follow up. Whether it's an accountant, a solicitor, or whatever. Mondays, bro, I'm like, I just want it to be Monday so I can start working.
That's the reason we call the podcast I Love Monday.
I love Monday. Yeah, I like that. That's it.
Because it's everyone's, whenever you want to start something new, we'll start again on Monday.
Yeah, true. yeah, true.
So that's the reason. And hopefully it inspire others.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I actually do love Mondays, bro.
And thank you very much for coming on. It's
all
been
good.
a pleasure, man.
Thanks for having me, bro.
And thanks for keeping your word.
Yeah, of course.